In this video, I will show you how to complete daily documentation for skill building objectives. What you're going to do is you're going to select the window for TheraP. Once you get to TheraP, you're going to start on your dashboard. You're going to come down to the tab that says Individual, and you're going to select ISP Data New. You're then going to select the program for which you want to write your data for. For test purposes, we're going to be writing our data in Test Group Home, so I'm going to select that now. I'm then going to select the individual for whom I want to write documentation on, and this one will be Skip Dodge. And then I'm going to select which part of the ISP I would like to do my documentation for. And for this practice session, we're going to be documenting on the skill building objective for beer making, so I'm going to select that. Like I showed you earlier, if this is the first time I'm writing documentation for the individual I'm supporting, an acknowledgement page is going to come up. What this does is it ensures that I read through the Part 5 for this objective prior to doing any documentation. If there's any changes made to this Part 5, you will also be required to do an acknowledgement before you write your documentation. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Part 5 for Skip Dodge for his beer making. What you will notice is at the top of the page it gives you a program description. It tells you which program this is going to be provided in. It tells you the name of the program. It lists the long-term objective. And for Skip, his long-term objective is DSPs will help me build my beer making skills. The reason that he wants this program is he wants to make the world's best beer. This will give you a schedule of frequency. We want to do it once a day for 5 days per week. And then we come down here and we should be working on this at home and in the community where it says location. We'll know that Skip has reached his goal once he no longer needs this activity and he wins a medal for making the best beer. You always want to check to make sure if you have any materials that are required for the objective you're running. And for this one, we need various beer making supplies. You're then going to scroll down and continue to read, and it's going to tell you the scoring method and the baseline dates. And then it's going to tell you the task. The task is really important because it tells us what to count as an attempt and what to count as a success when we're helping assist Skip to build this skill. So what you'll notice here is the beer making attempt. We should count as an attempt anytime we encourage him to research, learn about, or work on beer making. We want to document what we did. Did you introduce something new, take me somewhere to get information, encourage me to work on what I had worked on before, etc.? How did I respond? So again, our attempts are what did we do to run the objective as outlined and what was the person's response to what we tried. We're going to count as a success when Skip spends a total of 1 hour a day on beer making skills, documenting exactly what he did and how we supported him. We want to include the location and how long he worked on each skill. It's really important that you always read the criteria for this success because we want this to be objective and not open for interpretation. So if I simply looked at I need to encourage Skip to research, learn about, or work on beer making, but I never read the criteria, I may think that if he went to the store and researched a product that he was looking to buy while at the store, but that only took him 15 minutes, I might think that's a success because I never read the criteria. He actually has to spend a total of 1 hour a day in order for it to be a success. Don't worry about successes. What you want to worry about is documenting what you did to introduce the new skill, what you did to help Skip to build this skill. If he succeeds, that's wonderful. But if he doesn't, the most important thing that we still want to document is progress. What you're then going to do is scroll down and we're going to look at the teaching method. Description, person-centered instructions for how to support individual, and that's what will be written here. Always read your teaching methods prior to helping somebody with an objective because they're going to tell you what's going to work best for that individualized person. You're then going to scroll down, and this time we've actually reviewed the acknowledgement, so what we're going to do is click Acknowledge. Once you click Acknowledge, You then have to select OK on this box. This is your electronic signature that you have read and understood and that you'll actually implement this portion of the Part 5 for the person. So by clicking OK, we're saying that we have done that. It's then going to bring me to a page that I can begin to write my daily documentation. Now let's say I read that acknowledgement and I think to myself, oh my goodness, I really don't remember everything that was in that Part 5 and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to document. That's not a problem because you'll notice that there is a blue highlighted section on this page. You can click on this section and what it will do is it will bring up the Part 5 once again for you. So if at any time you're running into problems, you can pull this back up so that you know exactly what you're documenting. When you're finished reading through it, you simply X out of the box and it brings you back to this page. When getting ready to write your documentation, what you need to do is ensure that today's date is here. You cannot write daily documentation into the future, but you can backdate it. If you backdate daily documentation, it will automatically notify your supervisor. We are supposed to complete our daily documentation by the end of shift. So if you're backdating documentation, your supervisor is going to ask you why that was backdated. So it always should be today's date that I'm writing on. I'm then going to come down and hit submit. And again, it pulls up my data collection sheet. Now, I get here and again I get stumped and say, oh my goodness, I don't remember what I'm supposed to be writing on. You have the Part 5 built into here as well. So I can click on this just like I did on the last page and I can review the Part 5 or any portions of it that I need prior to writing my daily documentation. When I'm done with it, I click out. What you're then going to do is you're going to fill out your data collection details. The location in which we ran this objective, we're going to say home. You're then going to come down and you're going to try to figure out how many attempts you made to run this objective. So count how many times we encouraged him to research, learn about, work on beer, so on and so forth, and then what was his response to it. So I'm just going to put a generic number in here for demonstration purposes. You click in the box and you select a number. And then you come down here and you select a number of successes. So count as a success when I spend a total of 1 hour a day on beer making skills. And we're going to say that he didn't spend an entire hour for this example, so I'm going to put 0. I am always going to indicate that this document is billable. So billable always needs to indicate yes. And then I need to write a comment. And my progress note just magically appeared. So what I wrote here is this DSP helped Skip log onto his computer and register for a home brewer chat site. This DSP typed in the information while Skip told her what to write. Skip in this DSP read recipes that other beer makers had posted. Once Skip found the one he liked, he asked this DSP to check the refrigerator to make sure that we had all of the ingredients available for him to make the recipe. We did, but Skip decided that he wanted to wait until his friend Wayne came over to make the beer. And this is common. I went ahead and wrote my note. What's typically easier to do with this is you notice that up here, I kind of guessed I had about 3 attempts and 0 successes. Sometimes when you write your progress note, you might find that you actually had more attempts than what you thought. So typically what I'll tell people to do is to write their narrative first and then try to figure out how many attempts or successes they think happened in that day. You can do it either way you want to. Just make sure that your narrative supports how many attempts you made. So if I actually read through the one that I just did, I actually made 4 attempts here because I helped him to log into the computer. That's 1 attempt. I typed in the information. That's 2 attempts. I then read the recipes for making the beer, which is 3 attempts. I then went and checked in the refrigerator to make sure we had all the stuff available for the recipe. So I actually made 4 attempts on this one. Once you're satisfied with the amount of attempts and successes that you've documented and you've made sure your comments support that, you can go ahead and click Save, and you've just now entered in skill building documentation for Skip. When you're finished doing that, go back to your dashboard. All right, go ahead and proceed to your next slide.